In the year 2000, I had received my very first Disneyland annual pass as a gift, and shortly after, I went on a trip to Disneyland with my friends. The very first thing I wanted to go on was my all-time favorite ride, the Haunted Mansion. I loved that ride so much. I did research on the ride to figure out the secrets and techniques they used for all the effects. I had memorized the songs so that I would sing along throughout the ride. So I finally got to the Haunted Mansion and got in line. So far, everything was the same as always except for one thing. I got to the pet cemetery part of the ride, and for some odd reason, the frog's tombstone was missing. And instead, there was another tombstone that said Seth, forever here. This kind of bothered me. It seemed out of place, and it wasn't one of those family-friendly puns that Disney makes all the time, but I ignored it, thinking that it was a new part of the ride. Eventually, I finally got inside the mansion. So far, nothing else is being out of the ordinary, and the waiting room is still just the waiting room. The ghost host still says the same lines as he always does. Then I got into the stretching room, part of the ride, and all seems normal until the part where the room goes dark. You see the skeleton hanging himself as usual, but when the lights go out and I saw a ball of light hovering above the ceiling. I knew that this wasn't normal because at this point the room should be pitch black. Then just before the lights turned back on, the ball of light morphed itself into the shape of a skull and disappeared as the lights turned back on. This was not normal. As we walked outside the room and into the hall of the transforming portraits, I asked my friend about the lights, and none of them saw it. At this point, I thought that I was imagining things. We all got on the ride, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary until the ballroom scene with all the holographic ghosts. And I smiled, and I enjoyed the happy ghosts dancing and celebrating the lady's birthday, but something wasn't right about this scene. I looked up and saw the most horrifying thing I'd ever seen in my life. The glass that you see the ghost animatronic reflections off of was broken. There was a body on the floor, in a pool of blood by the dinner table. My friends and I freaked out. All the other passengers screamed. The ride stopped, the lights turned on, and an announcement was made on the loudspeakers. Disneyland thanks you for your visit. Please evacuate the attraction in an orderly fashion. A cast member will be with you shortly to assist you with the evacuation. Thank you. As we were evacuating the ride, we had to walk all the way to the place where you exit the doom buggies and get off the ride. At the ride's exit, we heard what sounded like a child crying, even though there weren't any children that small around. I saw a bunch of ambulances outside the Haunted Mansion ride, along with the police officer standing outside. I walked up to talk to one of the officers. He told me the victim's name was Seth.